Welcome back to part 4 in our 7-part series on leadership. For those of you who didn't catch the first 3, please go in and check those out. I think they kind of build on each other, so I highly recommend that. For those of you who are new to Meg Business Management, please go ahead and check out our website. We do lots of different services such as virtual front desk, websites, and stuff like that. I don't want this video to be about that kind of thing. I mean, you can check that out on your own, but I do want to ask that you click like and subscribe so we can beat the algorithm and help more people all across the country succeed in private practice so that they can have the work-life balance as an owner that they deserve. It's not just about employees. One of the most successful ingredients, or one of the most influential ingredients to success in private practice, is leadership. And that's why I'm doing this 7-part series. Part 4 is a concept that I learned in my coaching and consulting training that I had when I was a practice owner, and it's exchange and abundance. I mean, the concepts, the words kind of speak for themselves. You want to exchange with people in an abundant manner, but you need to hold that in a two-way street, and that's what I want to talk about here. Oftentimes, as private practice owners, we're hiring people and they come in and sit there and they interview and they get hired and they have this whole list of demands. They have this whole list of things that they need to be most cared for so they don't get burnt out. And I'm not belittling that. It may sound like that a little bit, but I'm not. I'm just saying it gets a little one-sided. It gets a little heavy-handed on the one side, and they don't necessarily consider the fact that you're a human being and that you too need to have a degree of exchange and abundance. This isn't just a one-way street here. This is a two-way street. It's a 2-lane highway. And so exchange and abundance goes in both directions. I can't tell you how many practice owners I've met who can't string 2-week vacation together. They can't get away from the office for that long. Why? Like, what are you doing wrong in your management style and in your communication to your staff that you can't get a decent 2-week vacation in your practice? That's not okay. There's definitely something wrong in how that's running and operating. Now, of course, if you're the full-time therapist with 3 people in a 1,500 square foot office, yeah, well, there's going to be a hit there, right? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you've set up your structure, you've been hiring your people, you've been scaling up, you're doing well, but you just can't get freedom from the practice. I think, number one, the first reason why that is because you're continuing to go to work, going back to part 1 in our 7-part series, continue to go back to work without the leadership mindset, without the owner mindset. You still see yourself as a PT who happens to be in private practice and own your own clinic. When in fact, you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, you're a CEO who happens to have PT after your name. You have to go to work with that in mind. You have to understand that your goal is to create a company culture that's in the best interest of the patients, the community, the staff, and you and your family dynamics. So how do we exchange in abundance? Here's what I recommend you do based on the 500 plus offices I've helped with this over time, is put in a structure that exchanges with people environmentally so that you have fresh paint, good chairs, adequate equipment, high-speed internet, great computers, advanced technology. People need to know that you're willing to invest your time, energy, effort, and money into their space and work environment. Literally make the changes that are necessary to make this the most comfortable, user-friendly, work-friendly environment possible. That really raises the mood of all of your staff. You wouldn't think that right away, but man, they start seeing things change around them, they get motivated. Number 2, get together an employment ladder. See what you can do to help them see that you are affording them opportunities. You're not giving them money. They can't ask for raises. They can't ask, they can, but they shouldn't. They should only be seeking the relationship with you to grow and expand, flourish, and prosper because it affords them greater opportunities within your practice. So make sure that you use that communication and set something up in that manner, how they can go from staff therapist to mentor to trainer to post-trainer to clinical director and so on. Maybe even down the way you have 2 or 3 offices and you have some profit sharing going on. That's great. Now they'll take even greater responsibility and even be more accountable. Exchange and abundance means that they understand that they were hired to do 3 main things: quality, efficiency, and productivity in the application of their clinical skills. They were trained as a clinical therapist. They need to understand how to practice in a manner and in a style, in a fashion, with their laptop, with point of service documentation, with the use of the administrative staff and care extenders around them, that affords them to be 85% clinically efficient. You look at their full schedule, all the slots, can you fill 85%? Can they keep it full? Now, what's their role in that? Their role in that is to ensure that 65% or greater of all the evals coming in are return business. Return patients, friends, family, peers, coworkers related to that patient. If they're delivering great clinical care, if they're getting great outcomes, if they're actually being more interested in their patients versus trying to be so glitzy and famous in themselves and talk about themselves, but yet they're really focusing on listening and duplicating and understanding and practicing in an autonomous manner to help their patients get the optimum benefit of their care, the patient's going to feel that love and they're going to share it with others. A highly trained, highly effective clinician gets 65% or more of their evals from return business. That's efficiency. Production. If you have a therapist who cannot seem to master how to give 3.75 units of care in 55 to 65 minutes of a treatment session with each and every patient, then you have a problem. And maybe it's your problem, not theirs. Maybe you haven't educated them, given them the 4 major tools on how to successfully do that. Maybe you still think you can't have 2 patients crossing over for 5 or 10 or 8 minutes without there being a Medicare issue or a commercial carrier issue, when in fact you can work that out and go back and forth and make it work and be ethical. You need to learn how to do that if you're unclear on that so that you can better educate your staff. But they need to give an abundance of care. They need to try and achieve optimum patient care, optimum patient experience with each and every session. I mean, let's face it. The 2 main reasons why we went to PT school is 1, to help as many people in our community and society as possible, to help raise the health and well-being of those in our community. And number 2, to give as much clinical care, as much effective care with each and every session. I feel very blessed and grateful that they selected my clinic and they selected me as their therapist and they're entrusting their care with me. So I want to give them everything. I'm going to give them the biggest bang for their buck for that $30 or $40 copay, whatever it is these days. I want to give them as much care as I can with each engagement. If I have a therapist having patients come for 30, 45, 55, 65 minutes and they're only doing 2.5 units of care, you gotta scratch your head like, what are you doing? Like that person has that same high copay and you're just not giving them enough care. You're not fully engaging them and optimizing your time with them. So I wanna help with that. And then number 3, quality. If you're not seeing an average net promoter score of 8 or above, 9 is ideal or above, then we have a problem, right? We want not a distractor. We don't want a neutral person. We want a contributor to our practice's ability to flourish and prosper. As the owner, as the clinical director and manager, as the leader, you want to have a better day today than yesterday. You want to have a better month this month than you did last month. You're only going to do that if you've effectively confronted your staff, communicated with your staff, educated your staff on how to exchange an abundance with their patients. You're holding them accountable to exchanging abundance with their patients, and you're exchanging abundance back with them. If they can have this understanding and grasp this concept of this 2-way street, then you have exchange and abundance in both directions. Honestly, when I became a clinical director, I then learned at that point that my main responsibility as an executive, now that I had this executive position, was to lead, educate, and motivate. My boss would tell me any minute of the day, any hour of the day that you're not spending time leading, educating, and motivating, I'm going to ask, why are you here? That is what I promoted you for. That's why you became clinical director. And as an owner, the same applies. You still have to constantly be leading, educating, and motivating. That's what this leadership series is all about. How to enrich you in a way that you didn't get from PT school. We know PT school prepared you on how to be a staff therapist, but nothing has prepared you on how to be a practice owner who practices in the top 10% of your knowledge, top 10% of your license, top 10% of your ability. That's my goal for you. That's my hopes and dreams, is that you feel comfortable, confident, and you have a vision that you feel you're embarking on with the support and flow of your staff in that same direction. It comes from you. Trust me, it comes from you. If you follow each one of these steps in this 7-part series, you're going to be that much more effective and it's going to be that much easier. You're not going to have to micromanage. You're going to have greater freedom and distance from your practice. When I was doing this, I lived 1,000 miles away from my practice for an entire year and I never once set foot in it. I ran the entire thing. There's a reason why Mr. Marriott's not in the back folding your sheets, but yet every PT practice owner that I meet can't even get away for a 2-week vacation. Oftentimes, they're treating more patients and delivering more care than the staff that they hired. This is a problem. An effective leader in a PT private practice is not treating more than 25 hours a week. Given circumstances, of course, there's an anomaly. There's reasons why that may not be, but 99% of you should not as owners, and you should be adequately spending your time doing administrative and clinical diagnostics and promotion. So that's it for this series, this part of this series. Stay tuned for part 5 coming up. I'll be shooting that soon, and I really hope this is helping you. Give me feedback, write in the comments, let us know what you think. I want to just say it like it is and help you start each and every day, like I say on my podcast, expecting to do well. If you haven't checked out the podcast, check it out. I've been doing it since 2018. A lot of good free content there for you. I wish you all the best. Thank you for listening and watching.